Narito na ang TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide. Ang programang maghahati ng mga impormasyon tungkol sa mga serbisyong ipinapaabot sa atin ng TESDA sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide. Abot Lahat Nationwide.
Kayo po ay nakatune in pa rin sa DWDD Katropa Radio 1134 kHz sa AM dial ng inyong mga radyo na kasapi ng KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. Ako po si Wilnard Basilonia, inyong makakasama sa unang bahagi ng ating programang TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide, kung saan inyong matutunghayan ang mga balita at updates mula sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa na may kaugnayan sa mga layunin at mga programa ng Technical Education and Skills Development Authority o TESDA. Abangan po mamaya sa pangalawang bahagi ng ating programa dahil ating malalaman ang mga inisyatibo ng TESDA katuwang ang ating mga local government units at maging ang mga ahensya na miyembro ng Poverty Reduction, Livelihood and Employment Cluster o PRLEC. Sa ating pong panayam kay PRLEC spokesperson at TESDA Deputy Director General for Communities and Local Government Unit Services, DDG Gabriel Quisumbing.
Mga maiinit na balita at kaganapang ihahati ng TESDA Information Officers mula sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa. Ito ang TESDA Update.
Una sa ating mga balita, TESDA scholars sa lalawigan ng Aurora muling nakatanggap ng kanilang allowance. TESDA update mula kay Junafe Laureles.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
Tuloy-tuloy na pamimigay ng allowance para sa TESDA scholars sa lalawigan ng Aurora. Noong Huwebes, ika-26 ng Nobyembre, 150 scholars ang muling tumanggap mula sa TESDA Aurora ng kanilang allowance. Ang mga naturang scholars ay tinuturuan ng production of high quality inbred rice and seed certification and farm mechanization o ang Farmers Field School. Ito ay may kabuoang 76 na oras o 12 araw. Isang araw kada linggo ang kanilang pasok. Sila ay trainees ng Asbahaen Agritourism and Training Center Incorporated sa Barangay Reserva, Baler, Aurora. Ang mga trainees ay nagmula sa iba't ibang bayan ng Aurora. Kamakailan ay sumailalim sa state of calamity ang buong lalawigan ng Aurora dahil sa malawakang pinsala sa pangkabuhayan, sakahan, infrastruktura at pati sa kabahayan. Kung kaya't ang allowance ng mga naturang scholars ay malaking tulong para sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na gastosin. Hangad ng TESDA na makatulong hindi lamang sa kasanayan at paghubog sa kaalaman ng mga mamamayan, kundi pati sa kanilang personal na pangangailangan. Mula sa Aurora, Junafe Laureles para sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update.
Maraming salamat Junafe Laureles ng TESDA Aurora. Sa kabilang dako mga katutubo naman sa Pampanga, sumailalim sa community-based training ng TESDA. Ang report ihatid ni Gia Marie Fernandez.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
Noong 5 ng Disyembre, taong kasalukuyan, nagkaroon ng community-based training program ang TESDA Pampanga sa pamumuno ni Provincial Director Attorney Eric Ueda at sa partisipasyon ng Inner Wheel Club of Central Ortigas at mga tagapagturo mula sa Office of the Provincial Agriculturist. Ang community-based training program na ito ay para sa mga kapatid nating magsasakang katutubong Aita mula sa Sitio Haduan, Mabalacat City, Pampanga. Ang Sitio Haduan ay halos 1 oras na paglalakad mula sa Clark Economic Zone kung saan namumuhay ang halos 250 katutubo na ang pangunahing kabuhayan ay ang pagsasaka ng prutas at gulay tulad ng papaya, kamote, ube, nyog, sitaw, saging at malunggay. Sa nasabing pagsasanay, katuwang ang mga tagapagturo mula sa Office of the Provincial Agriculturist ay naturuan ng ating mga kapatid na katutubo sa paggawa ng organic supplements tulad ng concoctions o mga pesticides at insecticides na isa sa mga kasanayan na natututunan sa Organic Agriculture Production NC2. Ang aktibidad na ito ay umaayon sa layunin ng ahensya na itinatanghal bilang isang tagapaghatid at katuwang sa pagbibigay ng serbisyo ng gobyerno para sa mga pangangailangan ng industriya at sa mga iba't ibang pangkat ng lipunan. Mula sa San Fernando, Pampanga, Gia Marie Fernandez para sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update. TESDA Update.
Thank you very much sa iyong report, Gia Marie Fernandez ng TESDA Pampanga. Samantala, TESDA Benguet, nagsagawa naman ng trade fair. Stephanie Peligman para sa TESDA Update.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
Nagsagawa ng trade fair ang TESDA Benguet noong ika-21 ng Nobyembre sa SM Baguio City. Ito ay bilang tugon sa TESDA Circular No. 158 Series of 2020 at ang direktiba ni Secretary Isidro S. La Peña na mas lalong paigtingin ang mga programang pang-agrikultura para sa seguridad ng pagkain. Ang trade fair ay isang partnership kasama ang SM Foundation Kabalikat sa Kabuhayan Sustainable Agriculture Program. Ang layunin ng proyektong ito ay upang matulungan ang mga magsasaka sa Benguet na mabenta ang kanilang mga produkto. Kamakailan lang, 50 magsasaka ang nakinabang mula sa programang ito. Kabilang din sa mga nagdala ng kanilang mga produkto ay ang Lily of the Valley Organic Farm, Cosmic Farm at ang Baguio City School of Arts and Trades. Ang ilan sa mga nakadisplay na produkto ay Ashitaba Pulveron, honey, blueberry jam, breads and pastries, organic vegetables gaya ng celery, devil chili, amaranth, Chinese kale, arugula, nasturtium, native tomato, alfalfa sprout at marami pang iba. Ang trade fair ay natapos noong ika-29 ng Nobyembre. Ayon kay TESDA Benguet Provincial Director Vilma Cabrera, patuloy ang kanilang pakikipag-ugnayan sa SM Foundation upang magpatuloy ang trade fair hanggang Disyembre at sa mga susunod pang taon. Ito rin ay isang paraan upang tangkilikin ng mga turista at mga mall shoppers ang mga local produce ng probinsya. Ayon pa rito, ito din ay isang magandang oportunidad upang mapromote nila ang iba't ibang programa at serbisyo ng TESDA. Mula sa Cordillera Administrative Region, Stephanie Nicole Piligman para sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update. TESDA Update.
Maraming salamat, Stephanie Peligman, sa iyong report. Sinanay naman ng TESDA sa pagnenegosyo ang mga dependents ng PNP at AFP battle casualties sa Zamboanga del Sur. May TESDA update si Normina Gaite.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
30 dependents ng AFP and PNP battle casualties killed in action or wounded in action o KIAWIA mula sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Mindanao ang sumailalim sa Capacity Building Training o CBT noong ika-12 hanggang ika-18 ng Nobyembre sa Hotel Guillermo, Pagadian City. Ito ay alinsunod sa Memorandum of Agreement ng mga kalahok na ahensya ng gobyerno na ipatupad ang Comprehensive Social Benefits Program o CBSP. Bilang ambag ng TESDA, inaprubahan ni Secretary Isidro S. La Peña ang project proposal na ipinasa ng TESDA Regional Office 9 para sa 3 araw na libreng kasanayan na may halagang 2,300 piso bawat dependent. Isang virtual message mula kay TESDA Deputy Director General for CLGUS, Gabriel Quisumbing, ang sumalubong sa mga kalahok sa pambungad na programa na dinaluhan ng mga kinatawan ng Department of the Interior and Local Government, Provincial Director Alan T. Bacatan, at TESDA 9 Regional Operations Chief Engineer Adrian B. Ampong. Ang mga kalahok ay hinati sa 2 batches at schedule upang higit na matutukan ang pinagsamang pagsasanay sa financial literacy, hatid ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, entrepreneurship training mula sa Department of Trade and Industry, at cake making hatid ng TESDA. Ang CBSP ay pinagtibay upang matulungan ng mga pamilya ng mga kasapi ng AFP at PNP na namatay o nasugatan habang ginagampanan ng tungkulin at bilang pagkilala ng kanilang kabayanihan habang naglilingkod para sa bayan. Inaasahang maging daan ng mga kasanayan sa pagbukas ng panibagong oportunidad na pagkakakitaan ng mga dependents. Mula sa Zamboanga del Sur TESDA Provincial Office, Normina Gaite para sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update. TESDA Update.
Thank you, Normina Gaite. Sa kabilang dako, TESDA Secretary Sid La Peña nanguna sa groundbreaking ceremony ng PTC Malita sa Davao Occidental. Alamin natin ang detalye ng TESDA update mula kay Paula Fajardo.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
Bilang bahagi ng kanyang pangako na bisitahin ang mga tanggapan ng TESDA sa buong bansa para sa EO70 Whole of Nation Approach na mga proyektong pagpapaunlad sa mga prioridad na barangay, pinangunahan ni Secretary Isidro S. La Peña kasama ng kanyang Deputy Director General for TESD Operations na si Lina S. Sarmiento at Deputy Director General for Communities and Local Government Unit Services na si Gabriel Quisumbing ang seremonya ng groundbreaking para sa Provincial Training Center ng Malita noong Oktubre 29 ngayong taon sa Barangay Fishing Village, Malita, Davao Occidental. Ito ay isang palapag na may 3 silid-aralan kung saan dito ipapatupad ang mga programa sa konstruksyon at organic agriculture. Dumalo rin sa seremonya sina TESDA 11 Regional Director Engineer Lorenzo G. Macapili, TESDA Davao Occidental Provincial Director Engineer Alfredo V. Panuela Jr., PTC Malita Administrator Neil D. Estudillo, Assistant Regional Director Arlene S. Bandong ng TESDA Davao del Norte, Attorney Leonor T. Oralde Quintayo ng National Commission on Indigenous People, Lieutenant Colonel Rusty O. Valmores ng Police Provincial Office, Stilito M. Humaran, Municipal Community Training and Employment Coordinator ng lokal na pamahalaan ng Malita, at si Ginoong Mateo Sumilat, Tribal Chieftain ng Barangay Manuel Peralt. Pagkatapos ay bumaba ang kalihim sa PTC Malita na matatagpuan sa poblasyon, isa sa mga pinakabagong itinatag na PTCs sa Rehiyon 11. Mula sa TESDA Davao Occidental, ito si Johanna Paula Y. Fajardo para sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update. TESDA Update.
Salamat Paula Fajardo ng TESDA Davao Occidental. Samantala 20 dating rebelde sa Davao Oriental sinasanay ngayon ang TESDA sa animal production. TESDA update ihatid ni Martina Cruz.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
Ang tunay na matagumpay na mga programa ay yung mas tatagal pa kesa sa termino ng politikong nagbigay mismo ng programa. Ito ang binigyang diin ni Binibining Ethel Gingoni Abihero, ang itinalaga upang kumatawan kay Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa sa training induction program na ginanap noong ika-4 ng Desyembre taong 2020 sa Barangay Mahayag, Banay-Banay, Davao Oriental. Alinsunod sa Executive Order No. 17 ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte o ang tinatawag na Whole of Nation Approach, ang Technical Education and Skills Development Authority o TESDA ay nagsagawa ng Training Induction Program para sa 20 dating rebelde at 5 revitalized pulis sa barangay na nakatakdang sumailalim sa pagsasanay sa Animal Production Swine NC2. Ang programang ito ay ginawang posible ng TESDA sa probinsya ng Davao Oriental na pinangungunahan ni Director Lea D. Braga, tanggapan ni Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Office of the Presidential Advisor on Peace Process o OPAP, tanggapan ni Municipal Mayor Adalia C. Lopez, at tanggapan ni Punong Barangay Honorable Celso T. Mabiscay Jr. Naroroon din sina Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Banataw ng 28th Infantry Battalion, Philippine Army, Police Captain Eunice P. Huit ng Banay-Banay Municipal Police Station, Police Lieutenant Joey Pansan ng Revitalized Police sa Barangay Team Banay-Banay, Ginoong Charlie Ampo ng Municipal Agriculture Office, Binibining Mercy S. Pangula ng Department of Social Welfare and Development, Ginang Nora S. Malatamban, Scholarship Focal, at Ginang Cherry S. Aspiras, Vocational School Administrator ng Davao Oriental Polytechnic Institute, na nagbigay din ng kani-kanilang mga mensahe para sa mga dating rebelde at pulis na isasanay sa nasabing programa. Ibinahagi ni Ginoong Elmer kung gaano siya kadesididong magbagong buhay at maging mamamayang Pilipino na malaya at masayang mamuhay na sumusunod sa batas at ligtas sa bisig ng gobyerno.
Sa since 89 to 90s, nagpasalamat kami yung bagong Abot, nabihing karoon kami na agad sa panahon na pag-gobyerno naman, na pinag-turnover. Sa 2090, naging mo na i-rebelize sa pulis.
Bukod dito, nagbigay pa ng dagdag na mensahe ng suporta si Binibining Abihero. Pinuri niya ang TESDA sa palagiang suporta ng ahensya sa mga programang kontra-komunistang salungatan ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Hinimok din niya ang mga dating rebelde na ituon ang atensyon sa kabutihang ipinagkaloob sa kanila ng gobyerno. At pinaalalahanan sila na hindi susuko ang gobyerno hanggat hindi nakakamit ang pamatsang kapayapaan at kaayusan. Mula sa probinsya ng Davao Oriental, Martina Chelsea Cruz para sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update. TESDA Update.
Maraming salamat Martina Cruz ng TESDA Davao Oriental. Sa iba pang balita, itinatayo na umano ngayon ang Provincial Training Center sa bayan ng Surala sa lalawigan ng South Cotabato. Carl Mike Tabingo para sa TESDA Update.
TESDA Abot Lahat. TESDA Abot Lahat.
Mismong si Surala Mayor Antonio O. Bindita ang nagawad ng titulo ng lupa kay Technical Education and Skills Development Authority 12, Regional Director Rafael Y. Abot II sa isinagawang programa sa kanyang opisina. Matatandaan na direktiba ni TESDA Secretary Isidro S. La Peña ang pagpapatayo ng mga provincial training centers sa bawat probinsya at rehiyon alinsunod sa layunin na dalhin ang bawat serbisyo ng ahensya sa iba't ibang sulok ng bansa. Ikinatuwa ni TESDA 12 Regional Director Rafael Y. Abot II ang ginagawang suporta ng lokal na pamahalaan ng Surala sa mga programa ng TESDA kahit sa gitna pa ng pandemya. Sinigurado din ni Direktor Abot II na marami pang mga programa ang ibibigay ng TESDA sa pamahalaan ng Surala na hindi lang para sa mga mamamayan nito kundi maging sa mga karatig bayan at probinsya ng Surala. Pinaplano sa ngayon ng TESDA sa Cotabato sa pangunguna ni OIC Provincial Director Artemio C. De Rosario Jr. at PTC Surala Acting Administrator Bienvenido L. Solano Jr. ang groundbreaking ceremony na gagawin sa lugar kung saan ipapatayo ang nasabing Provincial Training Center. Para sa mga gustong pumasok sa TechBook o magtanong tungkol sa programa ay nasa integrated terminal ang satellite office ng PTC Surala at nakahanda na itong tumanggap ng mga gustong magbago o pumasok sa mga programa ng TESDA upang mabago ang kanilang buhay.
Para sa TESDA 12, Carl Mike Tabingo. Para sa TESDA, Abot Lahat Nationwide.
TESDA Update. TESDA Update.
Thank you so much Carl Mike Tabingo ng TESDA SOC Sergeant Region at tayo ay nagpapasalamat muli sa ating mga TESDA Information Officers sa patuloy na pagbabahagi ng mga pangunahing kaganapan mula sa kanilang mga probinsya. Susunod na po ang latest sa TESDA, kasama pa rin ang inyong lingkod at si Jet Pagaran. Para makapanayam naman si PRLEX spokesperson at TESDA Deputy Director General for Communities and Local Government Unit Services, DDG Gabriel Luis Quisumbing.
Narito na ang TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide. Ang programang maghahati ng mga impormasyon tungkol sa mga serbisyong ipinapaabot sa atin ng TESDA sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide. Abot Lahat Nationwide.
And we're back po dito sa programang TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide na napapakinggan na pa rin sa DWDD Katropa Radio 1134 sa pita ng inyong mga AM dial at napapanood naman sa ating TESDA Facebook page. By the way po Tayo po ay muling nagpapasalamat sa ating mga information officers sa patuloy na pagbibigay sa atin ng TESDA updates mula po sa kanilang mga lugar. Ako po si Wilnarda Basilonia.
At ako naman po si Jet Pagaran. Makakasama po natin sa ating episode ngayon, sa ating talakayan, wala pong iba si TESDA Deputy Director General for Communities and Local Government Unit Services at TESDA Spokesperson for PRLEC, DDG Gabriel Luis Quisumbing. Magandang araw po. Good morning DDG at welcome po sa ating programang TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.
Good morning and good morning sa lahat ng TESDA Nationwide.
Yes, salamat sa pagpapaunlak nyo sa amin sir dito sa ating programa. Simulan ko na po, syempre bago baka hindi pa familiar ang ating mga listeners. Sir, pwede po ba nating ikwento lang sa ating mga nanonood ngayon, ano ba yung pangunahing functions o gawain ng CLGUS?
Well, salamat sa tanong. No? Yung CLGUS, primarily, yung duty namin is to help to implement the TESDA Abot Lahat program of Secretary Sid La Peña by making sure that the special clients or special sectors of society that need help, makasiguro tayo na they will receive the help that they deserve. No? In a way, it's like the old adage that those that have less in life deserve more in law. And in that way, the government under President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is absolutely committed to making sure that all sectors of society are supported sa ilang mga kailangan. That's why we have special clientele such as, for example, PWD, the women's sector. We have youth, out-of-school youth as part of our clientele. We also have quite a lot, indigenous peoples, which is part of the reason why another one of our core functions sa CLGUS is the implementation of EO70. Or the PRLEC under the NTF-LCAC to make sure that some of these areas, which we call GIDA areas, geographically isolated and distanced areas, na to be quite frank, in the years past, in the decades past, have never really been able to see government services implemented in their area, are finally implemented. This is really a groundbreaking and a monumental program under the administration of PRRD. And kita sa TESDA, we are so lucky that our very own Secretary Sid La Peña, was the one chosen to lead this effort. And in the last 2 years, we have seen CLGUS and TESDA go into some of the areas all over the country. Difficult to reach areas, isolated areas, even those that were recently cleared by the AFP and PNP. And we've been able to implement projects na nakatulong sa lahat. I have to apologize in advance, taga Cebu manggod ko. I'm from Cebu. So Bisaya is a lot easier than Tagalog for me.
Okay lang, sir. Sige po.
Anyway, DDG, so far, kamusta naman yung ugnayan, yung ating relasyon ng TESDA sa ating mga local government units na ating isa sa mga masugid na partner sa implementasyon ng ating mga programa?
Napakaganda po ang relationship between TESDA and LGUs. I think because of the pandemic, all the more focus has been given to livelihood skills and training, which is why we have seen, although in the past TESDA has always been one of the strongest partners para sa mga LGU, all the more since the pandemic, there has been a demand for TESDA services in each of the areas and LGUs nationwide. That's why we have also been aggressively pushing for the hiring of CTECs in every LGU to make sure na naay makatutok sa TechVoc training and provision of livelihood and training services in every LGU. If you look at our TESDA online program, for example, we have seen record numbers. Napakadami po ang nagre-register ngayon para sa mga TESDA programs na online. kasi talagang in demand at hinahanap ng ating mga kaigsunan, mga kapatid, nationwide ang training that's being provided by TESDA. So on our part, sa CLGUS, we have been trying to make sure that they are more accessible than ever through our CTEX, through our partnership with the local government units. And we have seen over the last few months a tremendous demand, and we have been working very hard with our regional offices, provincial offices, and district offices to make sure that we are able to fill that need.
Thank you, DDG. Nabanggit nyo na rin po kanina yung Poverty Reduction, Livelihood and Employment Cluster o PRLEC. So follow-up ko lang, sir, bilang itinilaga po ni Secretary La Peña na tagapagsalita nga po para sa PRLEC. Pwede po ba pa-update kami? Asa na po ba tayo in terms of implementation ng mga programa nyo po o ng TESDA na nakapainalim po sa PRLEC?
So we have been working with the NTF-LCAC at saka yung mga regional task forces for LCAC to be able to introduce intervention. Just a quick background kung okay lang, no?
Sure
why we are involved in PRLEC. If that's okay. So for the last 5 decades, we have seen one of our biggest problems sa security sa ating bansa has been CTGs, or communist terrorist groups that unfortunately have been spreading disinformation and have put the lives of many people in danger, especially in the youth, especially sa mga IPs, sa indigenous peoples. So, part of EO70 was to address what has always been the root cause of the insurgency. Alam po natin lahat na at the end of the day, ang kahirapan po yung totoo natin na kalaban. Madami pong mga areas na dahil sa kakulangan ng oportunidad, na i-impluwensya po sila or natitempt sila to join the insurgency. That is why President Duterte, through EO70, wanted to once and for all put an end to the insurgency in the country and to really give our country a lasting peace. Now, while there is, of course, a component that is military in nature and law enforcement in nature, it also cannot be the only approach. Kaya in the past, we saw that it used to be only a military approach. So let's say, for example, may isang barangay in one area, there will be a firefight between the military and the NPA, and then after that, wala na. So after a few weeks, after a few months, babalik naman ulit yung NPA. So it's a never-ending game, It's a never-ending game of cat and mouse. Now, under PRLEC, under the NTF-LCAC, once na ma-clear ang isang barangay, once that the NPA has been chased out of a particular barangay or municipality, may whole-of-nation approach po tayo na ang lahat ng government agencies are to come in to provide interventions to make sure that there is no more influence, there is no more lies perpetrated by the CTGs na naloloko po yung mga communities kasi sinasabi ng CTG that sila lang yung makakasolve ng mga problema nila. But with the whole-of-nation approach, of which TESDA is the lead agency under PRLEC, we are able to show now that that is not the case. For example, the Secretary always makes a point to say na once in a particular barangay, when he visited, naiyak po yung mga residente kasi ang TESDA naka-implement ng photovoltaic program in which we were able to teach and provide for solar lighting in a particular area. Yung umiyak po na residente, umiyak po kasi that is the first time in over 70 years na nagka-kuryente, nagka-electricity in their barangay. And soon after, we saw several other interventions like yung farm to market road po ng DPWH. yung training from TESDA for food security, yung Department of Agriculture, nagbigay po ng mga implements, ang Department of Health nagtayo po ng health center, ang DepEd put up a school building. So you can see that this is a honest to goodness effort to relieve the poverty that has held our country in a stranglehold for so long, and that has propagated and has allowed these CTG groups to continue to grow. That's why kami sa CLGUS, we are so happy to be a part of that. Of the 822 priority barangays, we have now implemented projects in over 187 barangays, and we are currently working with the regional offices at saka mga provincial be able to implement programs in each and every one of the 822 barangays as directed by Secretary La Peña by next year.
With all these projects, DDG, na na-implement po natin sa PRLEC this year, actually despite the pandemic, ano naman po yung mga inaasahan natin, pwede nating asahan sa PRLEC next year?
I think we will be able to see na it will be kung 75 or 80% yung implementation natin ngayon dahil sa pandemic at saka yung mga challenges. Kasi in many areas, we were only able to reopen training over the last few months as the LGUs converted to GCQ and MGCQ. So we were only able to hit about 70 to 80% of what we can actually do. By next year, we are sure that we will be able to continue to ramp up our implementation sa mga project 2021. Ang tanan, all of the barangays under the 822 will have implemented projects already.
DDG Luigi, baka pwede rin po ma-share nyo po sa amin yung mga ilang milestones, updates dito po sa mga priority barangay development projects.
There's quite a few, no? I think if we were to go one by one, it would take the whole day.
Yes.
But siguro some highlights that we'd really like to talk about. Some highlights that we'd like the public to know are our projects when it comes to our food security programs and agriculture programs. Para namo, this is a project that is extremely important, especially now during the pandemic. But we don't stop there. Under the direction of the Secretary, we are also looking for sustainability sa mga programs. And some of the highlights that we've had in this program is, for example, sa Davao region, where the toddy tapping project, which is creating a sort of syrup consumption of the community, the volume has actually already been has surpassed what is needed. And they were able to work together with a private sector partner so that now they are able to turn it into a sustainable economic enterprise. As a matter of fact, based on the last data that we gathered, the community is making over 80,000 pesos a month with the program and the interventions introduced by TESDA. That is why for us, we are looking at an end-to-end approach. We do not want to just conduct the training and leave. Under PRLEC and under the direction of Secretary Sid, we not only introduce the training, we help to find private sector linkages to make sure that once the training is completed, they already have a means for an economic boost in their community. So that is one of the highlights that we are really proud of sa PRLEC, one of the highlights that we are proud of sa CLGUS, because too often there are programs na they come in, they train, and then they leave with no follow-up. end-to-end TESDA under the PRLEC and under CLGUS, we want to make sure that we do not leave the area until there is a sustainable means of livelihood for the beneficiaries.
DDG Luigi, total pinag-uusapan na rin natin ng PRLEC. I don't know kung pwede na ba nating maibahagi yung pong alam ko ang tanggapan nyo po ay mayroong ginagawa or nagawa na PRLEC manual. Pwede po ba nating ikwento kung ano itong PRLEC manual?
Sure. Like I said earlier, we have 822 barangays na priority na to under the PBDP, Priority Barangay Development Program. Pero this is not a static number. This is actually a number that is based on the list from this year and last year. However, the AFP and the PNP continue to clear barangays. So there are actually much more barangays than the 822 where we have to implement our projects. At last count, there were nearly 1,400 or 1,500 barangays in total. So these are spread all over the country. So we wanted to make sure na doon ay standardized the document or procedure to implement projects in all of these areas. We are very thankful that some of the previous DDGs under CLGUS were able to already start the process by coming up with manuals, in some cases for their respective regions, in some cases for nationwide application. What we did was to compile all of the doctrines that have been formulated so far and compile it into a document that we feel is responsive and applicable for the entire country to make sure that, number one, implementation of projects in this area is swift, efficient, and adaptive to the needs of every community nationwide. Number two, to ensure that we are able to maximize the efficiency of TESDA's intervention for the PRLEC programs. We don't want to implement programs that might not be useful to a particular area's economic development. We want to make sure that we are able to appreciate the bigger picture when it comes to preparedness for implementing projects. So we want to look at it from both the micro and the macro view. And the PRLEC manual, together with our very hardworking regional officers, provincial and district officers, we are sure that we are going to be able to roll out these projects that will be an economic boost to the community. So the manual, we just finished it really about 2 weeks ago. There's just some minor corrections that we have to finalize ng regional offices, ng provincial offices, together with all of the other clusters that have put in their input. And we'd like to thank everybody from the other DDGs to the regional directors and provincial directors that have given so much of their wisdom to make the PRLEC manual a reality.
How about naman DDG? Labas po tayo ng konti sa sa PRLEC. Dito naman po tayo sa regular programs po ng TESDA sa mga local government units natin. Kamusta naman po?
Very good. As a matter of fact, upcoming in the next few days, we will be having a CTEC Congress, which we will be bringing in CTEC focals and personnel from all over the country. Unfortunately, there are thousands and thousands of them, so we have to break it up into several groups. But we will be working with them to, number one, update them on how they can be of most benefit, how they can support their LGUs in conjunction with TESDA and the programs. We will be covering everything from the programs of TESDA to the process of enrolling and conducting training. We hope that will mean that there will be even more people that can benefit from the TESDA program, because we will be able to have point persons in every LGU nationwide. Already, TESDA is one of the few agencies that has presence down to the provincial level. When we finish with the CTEC Congress, we are hoping that down to the LGU hasta sa barangay, we will be able to have coordinators that will be able to assist our brothers and sisters that are seeking TESDA training. So with regards to our cooperation and coordination with LGUs, we are so excited about what the CTECs can do and how they will be able to implement TESDA down the line.
Okay. DDG, sa mga tagapakinig natin siguro, baka sabihin, ano yung CTECs Community Coordinators? Tama po ba ako? Community Training Coordinators po.
Yes.
Okay.
Technical Education Trainer. Coordinator, yes. Basically, we were saying the CTECs are basically the point person for TechVoc training in the LGU. I think that's the easiest way to understand that. Kung, for example, may department head para sa health, may department head para sa peso, may department head para sa engineering, yung CTEC po yung department head para sa tech.
Okay po. Thank you. Sa atin pong mga tagapakinig at tagapanood, alam niyo po baka sa mga hindi nakakaalam, si DDG Luigi po ay dati pong congressman at mayor. Congressman sa 6th District ng Cebu and then mayor ng Mandaue. Personal question lang, sir. Ano kung ikukumpara nyo yung ginagawa ng isang mayor and then congressman, o tama po ba ako, congressman muna or mayor, at ngayon ay nasa TESDA, Deputy Director General.
And nasa CLGUS pa.
Opo.
Well, to be quite honest, the secretary assigned me to CLGUS. So the function is still very related, kaya ang CLGUS, for those that might not know, it is Communities and Local Government Unit Services. So a lot of the issues that have been coming up sa CLGUS are issues that I dealt with also when I was mayor of Mandaue City. So it is something that I sort of understand why these problems come to bear, and what the process might be to implement solutions for those problems. So the work in CLGUS has been very fulfilling because of that. My background has been able to assist me in helping to formulate the policies and the programs of CLGUS. I guess the nice thing about being in CLGUS now is tungod sa PRLEC, I've been able to really go around the country. Mandaue Manggod is a very urban area. For those that don't know, Mandaue City is, when you land in Cebu, when you cross the bridge, that's Mandaue City. So we're a very highly urbanized city. We don't have a lot of areas that are GIDA areas. We don't have a lot of areas that are far-flung, because we are really in the heart of Metro Cebu. This new posting has allowed me to be able to go to places that are GIDA areas, places that are a bit further off the beaten track. And I've been so happy and been so grateful na I've been able to meet and visit some of these places around the country, and most importantly, help TESDA introduce programs na makatulong sa economic development in these areas. It's been a very fulfilling experience.
Ayun, oo. So, DDG, meron po ba kayong mensahe sa ating mga local government units na mga partners natin, sa PRLEC partners, at syempre sa ating pong mga ka-TESDA?
Well, una sa tanan, well, before anything, good morning again, and happy December to all of our TESDAns nationwide. It's been a pleasure getting to meet all of you, and I hope as travel restrictions decrease by next year, we'll be able to visit even more. I think most important really is the advice of the Secretary when it comes to the implementation of the PRLEC programs. No? As you know, our DG has a military background. He and even several of our regional directors and personnel have had a background in the military or in the police. And they will tell you that one of the biggest hindrance, one of the biggest obstacles to development in our country really has been the insurgency that is now the longest insurgency in the world. It's very important that PRLEC is successful so that we can introduce peace and development to each and every corner in the country. Sa ato pa, if there is darkness in particular areas around the country, PRLEC is the flashlight that will bring light to these areas. And our DG is very passionate about making sure that TESDA will lead the way in bringing light to these areas. So I'd like to thank all of our PRLEC partners, all of our CLGUS special clientele, and all TESDANs for believing and being part of this effort, this initiative. On our part sa CLGUS, please be assured that any support, any advice we can give, we will be behind you 100%. And we will be the agent and catalyst of change to make sure that we will deliver the lasting peace that the President has promised to all of the Filipino people through Secretary Sid La Peña and through TESDA, through our office as well under CLGUS.
Maraming salamat po, DDG Luigi Quisumbing mula po sa CLGUS. Salamat po sa inyong pagpapaunlak dito sa ating programa. I'm sure maraming nakuha pong impormasyon at updates ang ating mga pa-TESDA tungkol sa PRLEC. Madali nang tandaan, PRLEC, Peace and Development. Yun nga sabi ni DDG Luigi. Salamat po. At pati na rin sa partnerships ng TESDA with local government units. Thank you for sharing all this information. Stay safe po, DDG.
Maraming salamat po, DDG, and sa atin rin pong mga ka-TESDA na patuloy pong tumatangkilik sa ating programa.
Maraming salamat po sa mga ka-TESDA at katropa dito sa ating radio program, sa inyong pagsama sa ating isang oras na talakayan dito sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide. Ako po si Jet Pagaran.
At ako naman si Wilnard Barcelonia. Sana inyong masundan ng iba pang episodes ng TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide dito lamang sa DWDD Katropa Radio 1134. Supitan ng inyong mga AM dial. Magandang araw po mga ka-TESDA.
Inyong natunghayan ang TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide sa TESDA Abot Lahat Nationwide.